A Tale of Two Captains, a Shoto Todoroki X-Reader, written by Jules. Chapter 1. Boots clicked against the metal plates of the space cruiser, a sack full of riches weighing down as the squadron attempted to snipe you. A keyword: attempted. Those bumbling idiots couldn't even tell their left hand from the right. It was quite amusing to see them shout at you and use their flimsy weapons to stop you from stealing. You turned the corner and let out a small cheer as you noticed your pod still intact. These fools can't even make this interesting. You opened the latch and carelessly threw your new set in the pod. Since you were so close to leaving and hadn't done much damage as you normally would, you decided you'd have a little fun with the squadron. You began to search for your favorite trinket, one of the first things you had ever stolen.
Halt! Keep your hands in the air and turn around, or else I'll order them to shoot!
Took them long enough. Your grand exit was supposed to happen a few minutes ago. You obeyed and raised your arms, a small spherical object with the blinking light in your right hand. You gave the general, a dignified man with spectacles, a wink, and smirked at him. Ah, you must be new to the guard. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. You hoped he would play along. It was the new guards that always gave you the most laughs. He gave you a cold stare and ignored your statement, surveying you and watching your right hand with a frown. Ugh, my arms are getting tired. Can he please hurry it up?
Tenya, now put the barrier down and come peacefully. The
Admiral and I are not on speaking terms right now. Your flirty, joking tone disappeared completely, replaced with a deep frown and a harsh glare. The mere implication of that man made your blood boil. He was nothing but a man with a scar who wore a nice uniform and claimed he had power. All he had was a title and dim-witted lackeys who had yet to put real chains on you. You pressed the beeping light, and the barrier went above you. However, it wasn't able to protect you from Tenya. Your skin burned as you saw the bright red streak of a laser whip past your right side. Had they acquired new guns? That was a question you would have to answer later, since the squadron did not want to play with you anymore. He got me good. Real good, you mumbled to yourself, looking down to see where he had grazed you. Had that laser been 1 inch closer, you wouldn't have had to worry about the Admiral any longer. But he could wait. You had a wound to tend to, and treasure to hide. It wouldn't be long until the guard found you again. You entered the coordinates to your vault, and set a course to your second home, Earth. Earth was such an interesting planet, filled with humanoid creatures they called humans. They were quite pathetic in nature, with a few exceptions, but even those who surpassed the average human had their faults. Blending in wasn't a problem for you. You had humanoid features that wouldn't draw much attention. The only noticeable differences were your pointed ears and a brand on your arm with alien dialect, with other scars you earned from your travels. Luckily, your vault was in a place where you didn't have to interact with the natives. Soon, the blue planet came into view. Your vision was starting to get blurry, and you needed to land as quietly as possible. With shaky hands, you guided the pod to your vault, deep in the most unoccupied place on the planet. The white wonderland that was Antarctica was the perfect place for you to hide all of the treasure you and your family collected over the years. It was a veritable gallery now, full of memories and wealth that could sustain you for decades. You drove your pod into the ocean and turned on autopilot. Your body was starting to get weaker by the second, and you couldn't muster enough strength to continue. Albatross, you hissed, as your hand grazed the burnt skin, the pain making your vision blur.
Yes, Captain.
The AI in the pod came alive on the dashboard, turning the inside of the pod a deep blue. "Open the vault! Access code Delta A!" The pod began to go deeper into the ocean. Knowing that your vault was all the way down at the bottom, you took the opportunity to shut your eyes, exhaustion weighing down on you as you made your way through the deep. You opened your eyes when you felt the pod come to a stop, sitting up slowly so that the pain in your side didn't worsen. You were still alive. Good. This wasn't how you'd wanted to go down anyways. With a groan, you managed to pull your sack out and trudge to the main room. Dropping it to the ground, you walked to the left side and opened a cupboard. Inside were bandages and all kinds of medicines. Those were one of the few things you were actually willing to pay for. You ripped off your coat and top, applying an ointment to cool the wound's burning sensation and prevent infection. After wrapping yourself in bandages and gauze, you let out a sigh of relief. It would hurt for a few days, but they wouldn't be spent in vain. Another heist was in the making. You changed into human clothing this time, finding the non-Earthian attire too bothersome to work into with your wound. A black turtleneck and cargo pants were enough for you tonight. "Albatross?" you called. You were only met with silence, which put you on edge. He was embedded in your vault's system. Why wasn't he responding? You tried again, more demanding this time. "Albatross!" Still no answer from that damn AI. You backed yourself into a wall, feeling for a specific button, your finger gently pressing on it. A small drawer opened to reveal one of your most powerful snatches. A small handgun made by one of the most insane criminals in the galaxy. The Devil's Wife, he'd called it. It had cost you a pretty penny, but it was better than raising some god-forsaken guard beast. You tried to activate your AI one last time. "Albatross, answer me!" You lifted the gun and got into position, slowly looking around, pointing the gun at every corner someone could possibly jump out of. Your base wasn't fortified because you were stealthy enough not to get caught. So, why did you feel like you were being watched at this very moment? A creak in the floor caused you to panic and fire at one of your displays. You cursed at yourself for being so jittery. "I didn't take you for a coward, Captain," a smooth, cold voice said from the other side of the room. Something inside you snapped when you heard it. Fire shone in your eyes when they landed on the tall figure that resembled the most hated and loved man in the galaxy. The Admiral. His hair, one side red, the other white, glinted in the light of your vault. Your vault, which was now being intruded on! "Admiral Todoroki! What a pleasant surprise!" You forced a smile through gritted teeth and tilted your head innocently. All he could do was look at you. His bicolored eyes would burn holes in anyone but you, of course. When you looked into them, all you could remember were his failures, his crime against you. The scar didn't even enhance his attempts at intimidation. "You have quite the collection," he mused. "Too bad you're going to have to give it all back." He made himself more visible to you, walking out of his hiding spot, standing with his hands behind his back. You knew there was a weapon there, most likely a shield that would reflect your shots, so gunning your way to safety was out of the question for now. This must be what he had planned for so long. No wonder he hadn't requested an audience with you for a while. "Wow!" you replied with a jaunty grin. That was boring. I thought we were going to have an epic standoff. Guns blazing, blood pouring, you know? A story my children would enjoy before they go to bed. You leaned back casually, relaxed now that you'd figured him out completely. He was alone, and only 3 weapons on his person. One of them was already out. He looked very determined today. Well, anywho, you continued, you're not getting anything back. And since you'd found your way here, you can find your way out as well. Shall I show you the exit? You pointed the devil's wife at him. The gun began to charge and heat up, making a loud wind-up noise, your finger on the trigger and your instincts begging you to fire at him, to end the game of cat and mouse. Yet, in a terrible and twisted way, you wanted to let this little mouse scurry for a little while longer. You let go of the trigger. The blast headed directly for the dual-haired nuisance. He dodged. You fired another, not letting him take another step without falling over. You cackled wildly as you watched him pick himself up and run, taking cover behind a statue of your parents. You lowered the gun and walked slowly toward the memorial, letting the weapon charge so that the next blast would be more powerful than before. You must really enjoy the pain of your mistakes, Admiral Todoroki. Really now, hiding behind 2 of your victims like that. The gun clicked in your hands, alerting you that it was halfway charged. As you neared him, you noticed movement. He was probably planning to either jump and strike you or to shoot you. But there was something off about how he waited for you to draw near. Normally, he would have done it by now. He hadn't used the shield either. You gave the statue a calculated look and took 3 steps back. Your gun began to wind up, you and the Admiral to fire dead on at each other. You dove to the side and slid behind one shattered display, peeking over to keep him in your line of vision. Damn it, he'd moved. Where could he—
Thought you had me, didn't you?
You felt his gun press against the back of your head. He'd gotten faster since the last fight. You rose to your feet slowly, letting your gun go and putting your hands in the air. The Admiral's gun moved from your head to your lower back, pushing you forward. You looked up without moving your head, turning around to face him. He was as jumpy as you had been, aiming for your face now. I did. I really did. How about— I didn't finish. You rolled your eyes and pointed behind him. Look, over there! The little distraction gave you enough time to give him one good punch in the face, his body landing on the floor with a loud thud. You walked over to him as he tried to recover from your blow, cracking your knuckles. Like hell you were gonna let him take you. There was more power in your punch than you realized. Now that you were standing over him, you could see his right eye beginning to swell up. See you around, Shoto. You brought your fist up one last time, before knocking him out cold. So I've recently been greeting everyone by saying howdy. I don't know why. Like in real life and online, and those are the only 2 planes that exist, right? When I die and I meet Sky Daddy finally, howdy. Alright, let's do this. It's the boy! It's the boy! Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm not even usually a simp for Todoroki, but just that smooth entrance, like, wow, he really followed you to a different planet, to Antarctica, at the bottom of the ocean, and just casually waltzes into your place of dwelling. That's disrespectful on so many levels, and I'm living for it. oh, bro, he probably like chilling on the couch or some mess. He's like, yo, what up? I'm in your living room, bitch. A nice cold glass of water. Don't mind if I do. I froze it myself. You want popsicles? I made 12. Bone apple tea, motherfucker. So gunning your way to safety was out of the question. Like, you're... Ooh, whoa. Todoroki tripping. It just doesn't seem like something he would do, which makes it all the more hilarious. Todoroki face planting in the middle of the hallway at UA. He hopes nobody saw that. He blames it on Ghost. Hi, welcome to Ghostbusters with Todoroki. This is Todoroki. Nobody saw that. That was, the Ghost. Bye. He just takes off running like... His dad's over here like, son, did you fall? He's like, no, dad, it was just a ghost. Go away. I hate you. His dad's like father, like son. And then he just... As he tried to... Like hell you were going to let him do the thing. Halt! Keep your hands in the air and... Damn it. Power. Maximum power! Yeehaw! How can you knock him out cold? Because he's already cold. Thanks, y'all. I'll be here all week.